Hello dear students, in this lesson I'm gonna talking about hundredth. In the first part of this lesson, how to write each fraction in decimal form and right word form. Example number 1, we have 24 out of 100. When we want to write this fraction in decimal form, we have two ways. The first way is long division, and the second way is trig. If we use the trig, the whole number is 0, so you have to write 0 point, and then because we have 100 two zeros, so after this point we have to have two numbers. 24 is two numbers, so the decimal form for 24 out of 100 is 0.24. We can use division way, 24 divided by 100. So 24 divided by 100 is 0. 0 times 100 is 0. 24 minus 0 is 24. We have to write decimal point and 0. Write the decimal point, the quotient, and bring down 0. 240 divided by 100 is 2. 2 times 100 is 200. 0 minus 0, 4 minus 0 is 4, 2 minus 2 is 0. After that, we have to write another 0 and bring down it 400. 400 divided by 100 is 4. 4 times 100 equal to 400. So we get the same answer. After that, how can we read this decimal number and right word form? For word form, we can say 0 and 24. This is ones and this is tenths, this is hundredth, so you have to say 0 and 24 hundredth. Example number 2, we have 75 out of 100. When we want to change or we write in a decimal form, we can write 0 point, and then we have 100, so after this point we should have two numbers. 75 is two numbers. It means when we have, for example, we have 7 out of 100, the decimal form for this fraction is 0 point. After this point we have to have two numbers, but 7 is one number, so we have to add 1 0 to become this number, this one number, into two numbers. So 7 out of 100, the decimal form is 0.07. After that, how can we read this decimal number? We can say 0 and 75 hundredth, or we can say 75 hundredth. So we can say 0 and 75 hundredth, or we can say 75 hundredth. The second part of this lesson, how to write decimal as a fraction and write word form. We have this decimal number, so the whole number is 0. We have to draw a line. After this point we have 80. This 80 become numerator, and then after this point we have two numbers. We have to write two zeros and 1. So the fraction form for 0.80 is 80 out of 100. And then the word form for 0.80, you can say 0 and 80 0 and 80 hundredth, or we can say 80 hundredths. Example number 2, we have 0.75. Whole number is 0, so we have to write 75. After this point, you have two numbers. We have to write two zeros with 1. So the fraction form is 75 out of 100. The word form for this decimal, we can say 0 and 75 hundredths, or we can say 75 hundredths. Example number 3, we have 0.93. So whole number is 0. We have to write 93 as a numerator, and for the denominator, after this point we have two numbers. We have to write 100. And the word form for this decimal, we can say 0 and 93 hundredths, or we can say 93 hundredths. Example number 4, we have 0.25. So we have to make a line, and then we have to write all numbers after this point as a numerator, and for the denominator, because we have two numbers after this point, we have to write 2 zeros with 1. So 0.25 is 25 out of 100. The third part of this lesson, write the standard form for each. How to write a standard form for this expanded form. So we have these two decimal numbers. In both we have 0 as a ones, so ones is 0 point. After that, tens. In tens we have 0 and 7. 0 plus 7 is 7, and then 100 plus 100. 4 plus 0 is 4. So the standard form for this expanded form is 0.74, or we can say 0 and 74 hundredths, or we can say 74 hundredths. Last example, example number 2. This is expanded form, how to change into standard form. So first we can add the ones. 0 plus 0 is 0, and then right point. After that we have to add the tens. 0 plus 6 is 6. After that we have to add 100 digits. 1 plus 0 is 1. So the standard form for this expanded form is 0.61, or we can say 0 and 61 hundredths, or 61 hundredths.